Federal prosecutors want Rajat K. Gupta, once one of the world's most prominent businessmen, to spend as much as 10 years in prison for insider trading. Mr. Gupta's defense lawyers would rather he spend time in Rwanda. It is just the latest intriguing twist in the case of Mr. Gupta, who was convicted of leaking boardroom secrets about Goldman Sachs to the hedge fund manager Rajat. On Wednesday, prosecutors and defense lawyers filed sentencing memos to Judge Jeff S. Rakoff, who is scheduled to sentence Mr. Gupta on October 24. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. In Federal District Court in Manhattan, Mr. Gupta is the former head of the consulting firm McKinsey & Company and the most influential of the 69 individuals convicted in the government's sweeping insider trading crackdown. Mr. Gupta's lawyers have pleaded for a lenient sentence of probation, accompanied by an order that he perform community service. Garrett Natolis, a lawyer for Mr. Gupta, made an unusual request in recommending that Mr. Gupta, who has played the leadership role in a variety of global humanitarian causes, be sent to Rwanda. The Rwandan government has expressed support. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. For a program of service in which Mr. Gupta would work with rural districts to ensure that the needs to end HIV, malaria, extreme poverty and food security are implemented, Mr. Naftalis wrote. Mr. Gupta is hoping that Judge Rakoff is swayed by the more than 400 letters of support submitted on his behalf, including one from Bill Gates, the Microsoft billionaire and philanthropist, and Kofi Annan, the former United Nations Secretary General. The letters depict a man who, but for his insider trading conviction, has led an exemplary life. Miles D. White, thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The chief executive of the pharmaceutical giant Abbott, wrote, Rajat's contributions to global welfare, in business, in philanthropy, in education, in civil society, have been rivaled by very few people. Mr. Gupta's leadership on global health issues has made a real difference in the lives of literally millions of people around the world, Mr. Gates wrote. The government, however, is asking that Mr. Gupta be sentenced to between 8 years and 1 month to 10 years and 1 month, a range based on a formula in the federal sentencing guidelines. Gupta's crimes are shocking, wrote. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Richard Tarloway, a federal prosecutor. Gupta had achieved extraordinary personal success and was at the pinnacle of a profession built on protecting client confidences. Mr. Gupta's misconduct is particularly troubling at a time when there is widespread concern about corruption, greed and recklessness at the highest levels of the financial services industry, Mr. Tarloway wrote. In June, a jury found Mr. Gupta, 63, the former director of Goldman, guilty of divulging confidential discussions about the bank to Mr. Rajat, including Warren Buffett's planned $5 billion investment in Goldman in the depths of the thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Financial crisis. Mr. Gupta, who also served on Procter & Gamble's board, was acquitted on account related to giving Mr. Rajat advance word of the financial results of the consumer products giant. Mr. Gupta, a resident of Westport, plans to appeal his conviction. Mr. Rajat, the former head of the Galleon Group hedge fund, is serving an 11-year prison term for orchestrating the 7-year insider trading conspiracy. He had a vast network of informants, including traders, lawyers and bankers, but none was more prominent than Mr. Gupta, the native of thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Kolkata, India, Mr. Gupta came to the United States to earn his graduate degree at Harvard Business School. He spent his career at McKinsey, the consulting firm, and was elected its global head in 1994. After running McKinsey for a decade, he was highly sought after as a board member, landing plum directorships at several public companies. He also devoted much time to philanthropic pursuits, becoming the trustee of the Rockefeller Foundation and an advisor to President Bill Clinton's philanthropy. But after leaving McKinsey, Mr. Gupta also took on a variety of roles on Wall Street, including thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Raising money for Mr. Rajat at Galleon, then one of the world's most highly regarded hedge funds. Mr. Gupta's lawyers argue that a lengthy prison term is unnecessary because Mr. Gupta has already paid the terrible price. They said that his reputation is in tatters given the intense media attention surrounding his trial. This is the quintessential case of a monumental fault that is, in and of itself, severe punishment, said the defense. In letters sent to Judge Rakoff, Mr. Gupta's wife and 4 daughters, who attended Mr. Gupta's month-long trial nearly every day, thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Describe the strain of the case on their lives. One of his daughters, Aditi Gupta, a recent graduate of Harvard Business School, described being harassed on campus because of her father's legal troubles. She said that news articles about her father's case magically appeared in her on-campus mailbox. An email circulated calling for Harvard Business School to cut all ties with Mr. Gupta, who served on the school's advisory board. She said that she could not bear to tell her father about these incidents. Nor did I tell him about the well-intentioned professors who thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Suggested I take a year off to wait for everything to die down, or what it was like to try and maintain my composure in a class of 90 people when Preet Bharara, the United States attorney in Manhattan whose office brought the case against Mr. Gupta, arrived. To speak in one of my first-year classes, she wrote. Mr. Gupta's sentencing will be closely watched in legal circles. The roughly 8 to 10-year term requested by prosecutors is based on guidelines that are non-binding. The rules are supposed to give judges direction when meting out thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Sentence. Judge Rakoff has been one of the most outspoken critics of the guidelines. In 2006, he sentenced a former corporate executive to a 3.5-year prison term for accounting fraud when prosecutors, hewing to the guidelines, had sought 85 years. There can be, wrote Mr. Rakoff, an utter travesty of justice that sometimes results from the guidelines fetish with abstract arithmetic, as well as the harm that guideline calculations can visit on human beings if not cabined by common sense. Prosecutors gave some credence to Mr. Gupta's accomplishments, but emphasized thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. His callousness and above-the-law arrogance in repeatedly leaking secret corporate information to Mr. Rajat over a 2-year span. Although Gupta's criminal conduct appears to represent the deviation from an otherwise law-abiding life, said prosecutors, Gupta's crimes were not an isolated occurrence or a momentary lapse in judgment. On Wednesday, the team of government lawyers and FBI agents that led the prosecution of Mr. Rajat, Mr. Gupta and other insider trading defendants were in Washington to receive a Distinguished Service Award from Attorney General Eric H. Holder.